You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Remember, knowledge is not free. You have to pay attention on Past the Wire TV.
Saratoga Saturday on Past the Wire TV. Presented by Amwager. Nobody does it better. You're watching Saratoga Saturday. Exclusive coverage every Saturday of the meet. Only on Past the Wire TV.
Compelling? No doubt. If you bleed the sport of kings, you could feel it in your bones. What a race we have coming to us Saturday. Word of the day is class. 1 gal and 3 boys are grade 1 winners. The gals got 3 straight grade 1s, all by open lengths. Fierceness got a deuce. Dornoak's got 2 very prestigious grade 1s. And Sierra Leone, that freight train, he does got 1. And he's come up short several times. Class. Stay tuned, Past the Wire.
Ciao, ciao, everybody. Nice introduction, Gio.
Ready to go.
All right, we're going to start with a couple of different things, okay? Lead off. I have reached out to Jimmy the Cop. He has made a prediction, but he did put a caveat. He said in the last 3 or 4 years that he's been clocking Mr. Setti, he said this was the most difficult one to come up with who Gio was going to like. But he has come up with a horse, and he is pretty confident that he's got the right horse. He said Gio is going to be very torn to pick against Fierceness. It's going to kill him. He said it's really going to hurt him. But he's going to do it. He's going to pick against Fierceness, and he's going to pick against Dornoak, who he likes a lot too. And Jimmy the Cop says all his chips are in on Gio picking the filly on the rail, Thorpedo Anna. He said he would go all in if this was a poker game. And we will see when we get to that later in the show if Jimmy the Cop is right once again. And I think so far on the show, he's batting 1,000. Am I correct?
He's something else, Jimmy the Cop. We'll see.
We'll find out. We got a story, and it's not mine. It's Big Race Jim's. Big Race Jim. What do we got?
All right, so I'm the young one of the bunch, but I just want everybody to know that I've been going to the Travers almost every year of my existence. My parents had me in the backyard at Saratoga before I was even a year old. So I just wanted to show a little proof that I have been attending the races since a young age. So here's a young and impressionable Big Race Jim in 2000, which, really isn't all that long ago. Not exactly sure whose barn this is. My mother texted this to me this morning. But this must have been Travers Day in 2000, and I was probably 11 or 12 at that point.
Pretty cool.
So a little backstory on why I'm in the barn is because my parents would go with a big group of people every year, and they would just get absolutely loaded, drunk all day, hanging in the backyard, drinking in the parking lot before they go in, drinking at the track, drinking in the parking lot after, let the traffic pull out, let them sober up a little bit. And back, John, you've told stories back where there was, limited security. You could walk right up to the horses in the paddock. So similar situation over at the Oklahoma track where we used to park in the free lot all the way down the hill.
Right.
We used to just roam through the barns.
Absolutely.
Until late at night, until everybody felt that they were safe enough to drive. So here's me back in 2011 or 12 years old, hanging out with whoever this horse is in whatever barn. But just some fond memories, and I'm very excited to be at the track again Saturday with my dad, my brother, my sister, my mom, my wife, and everybody else. So looking forward to an exciting day, and hopefully we can pull some winners together here.
That's a great story, a great picture, and I'd love to know what horse that was, but I guess it's going to be difficult for us to find out. We can go back. We can go back to the 2000 charts. We can go back to the 2000 charts and pick out the best one and just
just pick that one. That's who it was.
You know how those memes? I'm going to tell everybody this was so and so. You know, I'm going to tell everybody this was Secretariat. You know, I mean, whatever. All right. Before we get to the big race, which we're going to lead off with, okay? Special shout out, thank you to Steve Haskin, the legendary turf rider, racing historian, student of the game, and first-class gentleman, because he saw the show last week and knew we were going to have a contest to give away the hats. And he was nice enough to spend some time coming up with some really great questions for trivia. So the questions, like it says on the ticket tape over there, are courtesy of Steve Haskin. So they're great questions. Now, in all fairness, we're going to give three away. A couple of others, but we're going to give three away based on the trivia. Now, he gave me about a dozen questions. They're all great. I tried to pick three that I think, if you've been paying attention and you're into the game, are going to be doable and not so Googleable. So if there's any cheaters out there, you might not have such an easy time cheating. Now, with that, a lot of people are messaging me, oh, I want to buy a hat. I want to buy a hat. The hats, they're very expensive. Okay. You want to win a hat. Okay. You want to get a hat as a gift. You don't want to buy a hat. Okay. These are the coolest hats in racing. Okay. And they are priced accordingly. I mean, you're talking well into the 4 digits for a hat. Okay. That's insanity. Okay. Nobody wants to spend $3,000 on a cap, right? So you got to win it, or you got to get into good graces of the Pass the Wire clan in order to get one. Your money ain't no good here, unless you want to pony up an awful lot of it to get a hat. That's a brilliant marketing strategy that I did not invent. I learned it from someone else. Jim and I, you and I discussed who I learned that from. You probably don't remember, but it's a very good marketing strategy. Now, thank you, Mr. Haskin. We'll get right to it. I'm going to put the question up. Once I put the question up, first person to answer correctly wins a hat. Now, if nobody gets it, oh well, we're going to try again next week if we got hats left. Now, the good news is if you don't win a hat and you're not one of the people tonight that we're going to give hats to, and if you are one of the people we're going to give hats to, and you're the first one that answers, it'll go to the second one, because we got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that we're going to give hats to that have just gone above and beyond to be supportive of the show, show us a lot of love on social media. And many of you have done that. We just couldn't get to everybody. So we just, picked out 6 quick ones. We're going to try and get to everybody. I did order a bunch more hats, okay, today. So we had a limited number because I didn't know they were going to be nice enough. So now we got more coming. So don't worry about that. We will have hats. If you don't get one now, you'll get one later. We see you all. Don't worry about it. You're under the umbrella. You're going to get a hat. But today we're going to have some fun and see how good you guys are and gals. So question number 1. Guy already mentioned the fun house. You should get a hat just for that.
John, maybe you should read the questions in case someone's on the show.
Okay, I'm going to read the question. Question 1, courtesy of the legendary Steve Haskin. Okay, who is the last Philly to finish in the money in the Travers? Onion was not a Philly. Rachel Alexandra didn't run. 8 Bells unfortunately died in the Kentucky Derby. Genuine Risk was a good guess, not correct. Oh, we got one. We got a winner. We got a winner. We got a winner. No, that's not the winner. Sorry for that. The thing's moving too fast. There's the winner. Chris Everett. Last Philly to hit the board in the Travers Stakes. Now, that might change on Saturday, and I'll give you just a little history of it because Mr. Haskin was kind enough to do so. It was exactly 50 years ago, and Chris Everett finished 3rd. So, Mr. Cofino, Eddie C., who works with us anyway, you get a hat. All right. Question number 2.
Congratulations to Ed.
Congratulations.
Nice guy, Eddie C.
Nice guy, Eddie C. All right, let me find our next question. Okay. Question number 2. Which jockey won the Travers, beating that year's Kentucky Derby winner, Preakness winner, and Belmont winner, which were 3 different horses? Let's roll. No, it was not Pat Day. Oh, I thought this one was a definite nail. Nope, not Javier. Not Javier, no. Not Gary Stevens. Venezuela, I think you mean Pat Valenzuela. I don't think he ever won the Travers. It was not Flavian Pratt. No, yeah, he never won it. It was not the Mig. He's never won the Travers. It was not Lafitte. Good guesses, and you're getting into the right era. Not Raymond, not Jerry Bailey, not Angel. Angel won 1 Travers, I think, on Chief's Crown. Not Ramon. Already said that. Wow, I thought somebody would get this. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. It's somebody, good guess, John Joseph. It's somebody we talked about on this show. Not tonight, but recently. Now, that's a big hint. If you're watching and paying attention, remember, knowledge is not free.
It's a huge hint.
Pay attention. Bing, winner.
Val.
Winner. Val Miller. Send me your address. You have won the hat. Jeffrey Fell. Aboard. Runaway Groom. Beat Gato del Sol. Conquistador Cielo. And, oh, man, who won the...
It's like circa 1982.
Aloma's Ruler won the Preakness. 3 different horses. Jeffrey Fell. Runaway Groom. Rolling down the middle of the racetrack. Longest shot on the board. And a little-known story, I interviewed the guy and wrote an article about him, okay? The trainer of the horse slept in his car, couldn't get a room, drove from Canada, got to Saratoga, couldn't even get a room, didn't have enough money to afford a hotel in the hotels that had rooms, slept in his car, and then won the Travers the next day. That night, he did not sleep in his car, I'm sure of that. Runaway Groom. It was not Platts. It was Jeffrey Fell. Okay. Next and last question for this evening, and then we will get to the races. Okay. Hang on. This is a good one I like. Who was the only horse to win the Travers off back-to-back Grade 1 victories? A subject and a point that Gio was adamant about bringing up in this year's Travers, talking about the Grade 1 winners. But interestingly, there's only one horse who ever won the Travers, over 100 runnings, off back-to-back Grade 1 victories. And it's one of my favorite horses of all time. And I will give a hint. He ran in what we call the glory days. And what he was known for is superior off-track horse. Loved the mud, loved the slop. Beat horses that he wouldn't beat on a fast track in the slop and the mud. At least that's how I remember it. Steve Haskin will correct me if I was wrong, but I don't think that I am. Some good guesses out there, but nobody has gotten it yet. No, Graustark. No, he didn't make it that far in his career, but he probably could have done it. No, Honest Pleasure, Travers winner. Good guess. Go for Gin, good guess. Seattle Slew. I don't
A lot
think
of mutters they're guessing.
Ali Daw, no. Prove Out, no. Oh, a Jerkins fan. But you're in the right time zone with the Prove Out. Riva Ridge, good guess. Pleasant Colony got beaten at Travers. Justify retired before the Travers. Ack, no. Bold Forbes, no. Nobody's going to come up with this racehorse.
You may have to give him the first letter if we need to.
It's 4 words, his name. It's a 4-word name. Think of money. Money. Think money. I think we're gonna Man of War. That's an old one, but we got a winner. We got a winner. Thomas D. I think I gave it away. Key to the Mint. Good job, Thomas D. Send me, DM me your addresses. Our winners, Eddie C. I got yours. But the
Val.
other 2 winners,
Congratulations to Val
and Thomas D.
I thought Point Given was a pretty good guess.
Yeah, that was a good guess. Now, special thanks to the following people. Send me your addresses because you all have been, just way over the top supportive. So, you type too slow, don't worry. Listen, everybody's going to get one eventually anyway. All right, I ordered plenty more. They're coming. Don't worry about it. But right now, they're a hot commodity, and they're very expensive. Okay, Jim Benson, you definitely deserve and have earned yourself a hat. Matt Butler gets a hat. John Joseph, you're getting another hat. Walter Alexander, hat. Pat Palazzo, hat. Rodney Evans, hat. All of you getting a hat. So send me your addresses through the DM, through the website. I don't care how you do it. Email me, whatever. Somebody wants to put vouchers in the hat. We may send out one with a voucher. You never know. But thank all of you. And the rest of you who didn't get a hat, don't feel slighted. You're part of the clan. You're under the umbrella. You're going to get a hat. All right? So that was that. Okay, now Eddie has made a nice gesture. Eddie says, ask another question and give his hat to the person that gets that question. So, being Steve gave us so many questions and Eddie works with us anyway, we're going to do it. Okay. Oh, I'm getting messages. Very good messages. All right. Hold on. We're getting messages.
One of our viewers had listed Temperance Hill, and it brought back a memory. For the person that mentioned Temperance Hill, he was a mutter, and he paid like $100 at the Belmont Stakes. I remember that. I was just a teenager then, but I was rolling.
All right. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna try and pick a question. Steve Haskin comes up with some tough questions, man. This guy knows too much about horse racing. All right. I love this question because I love the Europeans. So I'm going to go with this one. And this is one of the ones I knew the answer to. Okay. I don't have time to type it in there. So you're going to have to pay attention. Remember, knowledge is not free. Pay attention. Name the only trainer to win the Travers and the Arc de Triomphe. Only one trainer in history has won the Travers and the Arc de Triomphe. Not Mac Miller, not Clement, not O'Brien. O'Brien's never won the Travers. Not Leo O'Brien. That's a better guess than Aiden O'Brien.
Leo O'Brien.
Multiple choice? Nah, that makes it too easy. Woody Stevens, no. I think this is gettable. Charles Appleby, no. Got to go back. We're going back. Remember, he's a historian, Steve. Remember that. Not Shug, not Roger Lauren. Mary Hirsch, no. Jimmy Fitzsimmons, no. Woody, somebody said that already. Back. Don't know who that is. Not Wayne Lucas. Oops. Talking to Steve. Wasn't Bobby Frankel. Was not John Gosden. Not John Veach. We got a winner. We got a winner. Bang. Walter Panoski. Walter. Angel Penna. It's Angel Penna Senior, but we're gonna accept that. Bold Reason and Ale France and Sansan, who were both Phillies in the Arc. But we have a winner, Angel Penna Senior, who used to train for years for Ogden Phipps, the black and red silks before Shug. So, great job, Steve Haskin. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and helping us out with these questions. We got winners, so the questions were good. They were hard, but they were gettable. And what I liked about them is that they were a little tough to Google the answers of. So, with that, get me the addresses. If you don't get me the address and don't reach out, I don't know where to send them. Okay. But don't worry, everybody's getting hats at some point. We ordered more. Like I said, I didn't know they were going to be this nice, and it turned out that they're real nice. And you can't get them because you can't afford to buy them. Your money's no good, so you got to win one. Now, to the matters at hand, and not only to the matters at hand, but we find out if Jimmy the Cop is still batting 1,000. So we're going to start. I wouldn't put your address in the chat. Let's keep that private. Message me, email me through the website, passthewire.com. It'll come to me. If it doesn't, next week, you let me know. We'll figure out how to do it. But I would keep your address. Yeah, $3,000 for a hat. Absolutely. You want one? That's the price that you got to pay. Okay, let's get to the races. We're going to start in post position order. Thorpedo Anna, known as the Grizzly Bear. Gio Setti, Gio Big Guns. Well, look at it. Wow, look at this.
I am ready to go.
They're coming after you, Gio. They're coming after you.
I am ready to go. And I'll tell you, Jimmy the Cop, he's got something going on because A, I was torn, and B, I land on this magnificent filly, and I got a lot to say about her. Thorpedo Anna makes history. Listen up, get your pens, take notes if you have to. I know you know a lot about the horse, but I'm going to add some stuff you may not know, some intangibles, okay? First things first, the obvious. She is the daughter of Fast Anna. Fast Anna is not a magnificent sire.
Fast Anna is all right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Had some success, raced 9 times, won 3 times. Okay. And the horse went for only $40,000. But sometimes in this business, you don't need the regal bloodlines pedigree, even though, and by the way, the dam is an unraced dam. It's Savates, unraced by Uncle Mo. So because I'm a single guy, raised my kids out of college, I'm home and I have a lot of time on my hands. So not only do I dig down deep all the time, especially in grade 1s, but for Thorpedo Anna, I went back and I said, let me go way back to her very beginning, her debut at Keeneland. And I started to get impressed from the get-go, from that race 1. Then I wanted to add a few things because I'm starting off while she's a juvenile and why, which led me to this decisive choice in the 2024 Travers, okay? In that race, the second race after she debuted at Keeneland, okay, that optional claimer race, if you watch that race, okay, she was in a 7-hole. She reared powerfully to the right. Normally that takes a horse right out of the race. She was straightened up by B.J. Hernandez. The sun was glaring. I think she saw a shadow. And she went on to win that race like she was Seattle Slew. Now, sure, she was just a juvenile then. No big deal. Let's move forward. Her last race as a juvenile, she broke bad. She broke slowly. Kept to the task at hand and still took care of business. Didn't win. Her only defeat, and she ran second. That's her juvenile. Okay, let's fast forward, and I won't take too much of your time because you've seen all of her races. But I wanted to demonstrate a couple of things because Thorpedo Anna, not only has she won and won going away every single time she's won, open lens. Along the way, she had challenges, all right? We all saw what happened in her latest at the Coaching Club Oaks, where she sort of hopped at the start. She wasn't asked by B.J. Hernandez. She took to the task at hand. She naturally was a runner to get her in the mix, okay? If you look at the Acorn and the Kentucky Oaks was in the slop. And the Acorn, she just made all the other fillies simply inferior to her. Let's forward up a little more now. Last week, my horse, Power Squeeze, of course, won the Alabama. If Thorpedo Anna is entered in the Alabama, it's a $600,000 race. It's a layup. She wins. She's 1-9, and she wins by 7 or 8 again. So ambitiously placed, and I love Ken McPeak for doing this. The way I see this race unfolding, okay? And by the way, another thing to recognize about her, maybe you guys don't know this, is the gal's disposition, her behavior, paddock behavior, gait behavior. Even when has something that doesn't go right, like I demonstrated with a few of her races, she makes amends naturally. And with all those races that I reviewed a second and third time, her turn of foot is just ridiculous. So I see her in this race. I wasn't the happiest her breaking from the rail, but I think she breaks alertly. B.J. Hernandez, who knows how to manage any horse really well, he's going to keep her up near the pace, keep her on the rail. She's going to be sitting, in my opinion, 3rd or 4th. She's going to be close enough to pounce. And when that gal is asked, she's going to come hard, all right? I have no reservations about the 1.25 miles. She's working brilliantly. Her 2 breezes, effortlessly. I see her winning, passing Fierceness. That's why I was so torn, because I got to beat Fierceness with with Sierra Leone coming powerful like he always did. I have Thorpedo Anna, a champion, Travers champion, and an undisputed 3-year-old champion.
Okay, so I think the real champion here is Jimmy the Cop.
He is. He's a sick man.
I mean, he nailed it, and he didn't even know you. I don't understand. It's uncanny. The guy's amazing, man. All right, I guess you learned something in 25 years as an NYPD detective. Guy must have learned something. Okay, big race, Jim. Your thoughts on Thorpedo Anna?
So when I looked at her when the PPs came out Sunday night, she just looked a little bit light on figures compared to the rest of the field. And then I was looking a little bit closer at it today, and she started to look a lot more competitive with this bunch, which is saying a lot, because I think this is probably, outside of the Kentucky Derby, this is probably the most competitive race for 3-year-olds that we've seen this year. And I think she fits quite well. As everybody watching knows, I like to use the Brisnet past performances, and she's right there on the class ratings, which I think is a big thing for me, and especially in these Grade 1 stakes races. Overall, I think it's a critical factor. I did see this morning, though, that she was a little bit keyed up for her morning gallop, and they had a tough time kind of getting her to end her gallop session. So I don't know if that is any real concern a handful of days out still. But, if anything, it suggests that she's absolutely ready and raring to go. She's a strong contender. I do think, though, that she's going to have to run a career best race to win here. And the pace dynamics might be a challenge for her. I think there's going to be a lot of early pace. So, assuming BJ Hernandez doesn't get buried on the rail with a couple of horses coming over into that first turn, she should sit a decent trip on the rail. Like I said, a strong win contender. I still haven't formulated my multi-race tickets. She might land on one in a pick 5. She may not, but for me, a strong win candidate for sure.
Okay,
I like that, Jim. Good job.
I looked long and hard at her, and I think that she is by far facing her toughest test to date. She is doing it in obviously peak form, a lot of confidence, not over raced, no real knock on her, nothing that would indicate she's starting to tail off at all. But she is being asked to go 1.25 miles from the rail against the boys, and against, in my opinion, faster and tougher horses that she's been beaten up on in her last couple of wins. I don't think that the competition that she's been facing is on an even par with the competition that she'll be facing on Saturday. And I think there's a couple of them that are better than what she's been facing. So I'm going to take a stand against her. The final thing for me was looking at not how she finishes, but the times and of how she finishes. She doesn't come home as fast as a couple of the other horses in here. And when I look at the individual fractions of each horse, when I see horses going 1.25 miles, especially 3-year-olds, I like horses that finish, that are finishing. And I just don't think that she's going to be finishing as fast as 2 or 3 of the others in here. So I'm going to pass on the filly. Would it shock me if she won? No. Would it surprise me if she won? Yes. But I've been surprised 1,000,000 times in this game. So, could happen. But I'm going to take a stand against her, and I personally don't think that she's going to win the race. Moving right along.
Right there, John.
Sierra Leone. Big race, Jim.
So I just kind of piggybacking off what I said about Thorpedo Anna, I might include her on a multi-race ticket. I might not. Sierra Leone I might single him in the pick 5. I might not. I just think this horse is, and this is going to sound so silly, but I do still believe that he is the best 3-year-old in training, even though he hasn't won since the Bluegrass. The pace should set up perfectly for him. He runs like an absolute freight train down the stretch. I think the Jim Dandy with Pratt, I think he was just a little bit too far back and left himself a little bit too much to do at that 1 1/8. If they were going 10 furlongs, he wins that race in my view, no question. So he's a very strong possible single for me on Saturday, and I think it's his race to lose.
Nicely done, Jim.
John? Did we lose John?
Is John frozen?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Johnny! Johnny, let's go!
All right, well, why don't you
text. All right.
Gio,
well,
why don't you go and
no, I need John to listen to what I have to say about Sierra Leone.
All right, hold on. He left. Back. Maybe he'll come back. I will add, one of the things that I do look at on the Brisnet is the E2, which is the middle pace, the late pace, and the speed figure, and bringing all of those 3 figures into the mix. He actually ran the way I look at it and interpret it, he actually ran a better Belmont than Dornoak did, which I'll touch on when we get to Dornoak. But Sierra Leone, I'm all in on him on Saturday, and if he's going to be the 3rd or 4th choice, hopefully that's a gift with a nice little bow on top to end a positive day.
So Big Race Jim, he's your top choice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just want to make a note of it. John, you back with us? You want me to go next on Sierra?
He keeps freezing.
Oh, boy. All right. So, hey, let me add one more thing about Thorpedo Anna, because some of you had mentioned this in comments. All right. Since John is frozen and we got to cover Sierra Leone. Let me tell you something. The gal hasn't had to run hard or fight post the 8th pole. She's going to deliver her best. She's a special filly. One that after Saturday, people are going to start to compare her with Personal Ensign. That's what she's looking at. That's the magnitude of this Travers Stakes. We got to get John back.
Well,
Because I know
I don't
that
know.
you can see it on record, but if I'm going to give my analysis on Sierra Leone, I have to have John's ears, as part of the listeners. John.
Well, I don't know what's going on. Is it me? Is it us? Is it?
I thought
think
maybe
it's-
one of your dogs, God forbid, turned on you, man. You're good?
No,
All right.
just dropped me off. It's happening again. Now
All right,
Gio's
well-
dropped off.
I'm here.
Yeah, we're here.
All right. So it must be me, my computer.
Yeah.
All right.
Make sure
I don't
you're
know
plugged in, John. Make sure you're plugged in.
I'm plugged in. I'm connected.
So,
I don't know what's going on.
Jim completed his analysis on Sierra Leone. Do you want the floor? Or do you want Mr. Setti to go with Sierra Leone now?
You can go.
Okay. Sierra Leone.
By the end of the show, the price goes up. Get 3,000 now.
Sierra Leone is a colt that I have admired all year. And at the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga, I was all in on him. All in. I had him locked in, win, double, pick 4, pick 5, this, that, and the other thing. And he disappointed me. I wasn't on him in the Jim Dandy because I knew it. And I told all you viewers out there that Fierceness would defeat him. And I had that exact colt. But in this race, as Big Race Jim shared, no doubt the race does set up for him magically. It's not a big field, there's 8 horses. He's going to make his run. I've said this all year round. His pedigree is near perfection. I love sons of gun runners. I love horses that they went ahead and paid $2,300,000 for. What I don't like, by the way, I like that Pratt's on him these days, not Gaff Leone. And he seems to mature lately. He's starting to run straight. But that propensity to lug in and the fact that he's going to be so far back with real fast, talented horses on the front end, the pace is going to be moderate to fast. But even if they rolled a 46 low 111, he's still got to make up mounds of ground. He's coming. The freight train is coming. But he's going to have to get to Thorpedo Anna and Fierceness. He may get to Fierceness and be right underneath Thorpedo Anna. But that's what I see happening with Sierra Leone. I got to make a business decision if I use them in my multiples. Right now, I'm only using 2 of my multiples. Sort of gave away who I like for second. But Sierra Leone has to take care of business on Saturday. Otherwise, he's going to get the mark of a regally bred colt who has strange habits, who has the propensity to lug in. He finishes powerfully, but he's just too far back. John.
Okay. I did do earlier today, for those of you that don't know, the Thoroughgraph numbers and patterns for the Travers. So that show is up there on the channel. You can watch it if you like and see, what the numbers and patterns tell us about the Travers and who the fastest horses are, who's too slow, and things of that nature. And I will share that on that show, I thought Sierra Leone was fast and had the best pattern to indicate to me that he was going to go forward. And if he does go forward, I think he's going to be extremely tough to beat. I thought he had the perfect setup in the Jim Dandy, and the race didn't really play out that way. And I don't think it really played to his advantage. But I think the 1.25 miles will be somewhat of an equalizer in that. I realize he's run 1.25 miles twice before in the Belmont and the Derby. We all know he could have won the Derby. The Belmont, the track that day was favoring speed, kind of really didn't play to his favor. But I think he's probably sitting on his best race to date. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination at this point that he's a bridesmaid or a horse that just finds trouble or leaves himself too much to do. He's a closer. Closers always have to deal with pace. and always need to get a little lucky and get the right timing. And I think that he really has a beautiful setup on Saturday. I think Dornoak has speed. I think Batten Down has speed. I think Fierceness has speed. I think Thorpedo Anna is going to be pressing those horses and eager to go after them. And I think Uncharted Wisdom, uh, Unmatched Wisdom, rather, Chad's other horse, is going to ensure that nobody waltzes and that there is some pace up front to set it up for Sierra Leone. I do not think he's a rabbit, and I'll talk more about that when we talk about him. But I know a lot of people will say, well, you liked Sierra Leone all along, blah, blah, blah. That has nothing to do with why I like him on Saturday. I handicap each race individually and block out who I liked before, what I liked before, and I take it as it comes and as I see it. And I think Sierra Leone gets the trip, gets the right setup, and gets the money, most likely winner, in my opinion, of the Travers this year, and absolutely my top choice. And I think he's just sitting on a really, really big race, and he gets his redemption for those races that he just didn't get it done, and gets a final word on the people that have kind of doubted him and jumped off the bandwagon. So that's my thoughts on Sierra Leone. Top choice without question.
John,
Moving right along.
One
Go ahead.
question for you. Top
Shoot.
choice, but is he a single as well? And you pick 5.
No, he's the go back horse. I'm using
Okay.
I'm using 2 horses
Okay.
in the
Just-
pick 5.
I'm sure you'll get to him. Yep.
I'm using 2 horses, and then I'm going to go back and take an extra ticket with just Sierra Leone. So that's how I'm going to play that pick 5. And while I'm talking, I might as well keep the stage and lead off on Unmatched Wisdom. Unmatched Wisdom is 3 for 3. He's got it's kind of early to say, but he's got a very similar pattern on Thoroughgraph as Fierceness. Fast race, faster race, slower race, back and forth, kind of a zigzag. And he's coming back to a very fast race. I think his win in the Curlin over the track, although Shug's horse was kind of running at him late, I think it was a very, very good win. I think he'll get a lot out of that race. I think he's going to go forward. I think he regressed a little bit off the race before that, and I think he's back to a forward move. I do not think, based on watching his replays and watching him work, that he absolutely needs to lead to win. I think he can sit very close or go. So I think Irad's going to have a decision to make out of the gate. But I think he is absolutely going to do 2 things. I think he's going to ensure the pace for Sierra Leone, but I also think he's got a hell of a shot to win. And he's the other horse that I'm going to be using. I think he's an up and comer that could step up and really say, hello, what about me in the Travers? And I think Chad gets he got his first 4-star Dave. I think he's going to get his first Travers. I'm just not 1,000% sure. I'm 999% sure it's going to be with his other horse, but I'm not leaving Unmatched Wisdom out. I think he's very, very live and very, very dangerous. And he's already run fast enough to run with any of these horses, and he's still got a lot more upside than most of them. So, bang, there you have it. Those are the 2 I'm using.
All right, John, nicely done. I got a little bit of a counter to that. Big Race Jim, can I go now with Unmatched?
Yeah.
The last
Go ahead.
counted me was Arthur's Ride. So
Not a counter. I definitely respect your opinion. But this is a similar situation that a few of the horses like that. Let me share. Obviously, great respect for Irad. You know how often I talk about him and Chad. This is the son of Cairo Prince, expensive, $450,000. However, debuts in the mud. I liked the race, wasn't overly impressed. Then the next 2 fields, the horse comes into the race 3 for 3. First of all, I'm not a big fan of a 3-year-old beginning his career in May, post-Kentucky Derby, and then expecting to win the Travers. It's just something I don't believe in. It hasn't happened very often. But the last two fields were small fields, 5 and 6 horses. The allowance race, nothing to write home about. The last race got me a little intrigued because he beat Shug's horse, who's underneath him, Corporate Power. And I like the way Corporate Power is developing. But the way I see Unmatched Wisdom in this race, definitely talented, has speed, but clearly, and by the way, the promo before we even started the show, when I talked about class, if you're going to win the Travers, in this race, Saturday, there are 4 Grade 1 winners. Thorpedo Anna's got 3, Dornoak's got 2, Fierceness got 2, and Sierra Leone's got 1. And the winner of the Travers is going to come out of those 4 guys because class is what class does. This horse is talented, but not good enough to win Saturday.
Big race,
Yeah.
Jim.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, Gio. I think Unmatched Wisdom is going to ensure an honest pace, whether he's the one setting it or the one applying the pressure to make sure that it's set. So I think he'll definitely be a factor in this race, at least early. I do think it is asking a lot for this horse to step up and win the Travers off of 3 career starts when he made his debut in the middle of May. But to that end, I think Arcangelo was relatively lightly raced. I mean, he did win the Belmont and then won the Travers, but he only had a handful of races under his belt. Arrogate was another, sort of horse that nobody was really talking about, nobody really knew about. Late starter, and I think he set the track record, didn't he? He still has the track record.
He ran the fastest Travers in history.
Yeah.
In the race.
So, would it be shocking if this one won? Absolutely not. It's just a matter of, does he have the conditioning to get the 10 furlongs and contest a pretty, what I think will be a pretty honest and hot pace early on. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to go off of with a lot of these other horses. Talented, Unmatched Wisdom for sure. But I do think it's going to be a tall ask to win the Travers, just given the light body of work so far.
Yeah. One other thought I want to add to that.
Makes sense.
John, I'm sorry. You could go first. I just want to add one more point.
No, it makes sense. Everything both of you said make a lot of sense. But you're talking about 9, 10, 11 to 1 with Chad and Irad on a horse that I think has tremendous upside, and I think might be getting sold a little bit short. And you talk about class and you talk about what have they done. He hasn't had a chance yet to run against these kind of horses, and he's winning relatively impressively. So I don't know that he doesn't have the class to beat these. He's run as fast as them. He's run he's run 1 on Thoroughgraph. The only horse that's run faster than that is Fierceness, and Fierceness, every time he runs faster than that, he tanks it the next time out. So I think he's extremely live. And let me tell you, if he happens to clear off and go to the lead, and everybody just decides to sit off him and thinks like you guys are thinking, that he's just in there to kind of set the pace, I think they're going to be in for a very, very rude awakening when they turn for home and they try and go get him. And Irad's got a little bit left in the tank and spurts away and says, "You're going to have to put on your running shoes to come and get me." I think he's uber live, super live.
I need to make one more point, since we're discussing this horse. I'm sure the viewers will find it interesting. When you begin your career in the calendar year in the middle of May, there's no juvenile campaign. There's no the rigors of the prep races in the spring. There's no Triple Crown races. The reason why it's that much more difficult to achieve a victory in the Travers starting in May, no matter how talented you are, because you're facing the opposition who are really significantly seasoned. They've been through battles. There are some monsters in this race, hard-hitting colts who have been through the rigors, and you got Thorpedo Anna. It's just, to me, John, like I said, extremely talented. I'm impressed. But the task at hand against this group just don't seem logical. I wanted to bring one other horse up that lends itself to this, but it was the Belmont. A few years ago, I don't know if it's 5-6 years, I liked a horse named Tonalist. Okay? Lightly raced, Belmont Stakes. I thought the horse had a big shot. But that's a horse that went through a campaign in the spring, not facing season horses at the end of August. It was in June, and he pulled off the upset, lightly raced. This is a different scenario. Unfortunately, they're all good. I had to leave them off my board because I think the top 4 are going to be the 4 Grade 1 winners. Sorry.
I like it that I like it when most people don't like my horse, and I like him. It doesn't sway me. So it oddly enough makes me more confident. So and that's no disrespect meant to anybody.
No, listen, we all have. That's what makes it interesting. We have very unique perspective and opinions. Sometimes we agree, and sometimes we don't. We agree the horse is ridiculously talented, but this is just too much to ask, you know?
It's been done 1,000 times before. Why? That to me that
not
makes
so much in the Travers, and not with this bunch.
No. We just named 2. We named Arrogant, and it was a bigger field, and we named Archangelo. You want me to go back to history and name more?
I know, but Arrogant may rest in peace, but Arrogant was a special horse. This horse beat a couple of skinny CPAs in a 5-horse field, a 6-horse field. I looked at the fields in the MSW and the allowance.
All right.
There.
Okay, but you're talking about this field like they're superstars. All right. You got a filly, talented filly, but you got a filly against boys. Okay, going 1.25 miles. That's not no walk in the park. You got Fierceness, who tanks it every time after he runs a big race. So there's 2 that are not all that in a bag of chips, in my opinion. You got Dornoak, who's run some hard races, had to dig in 2-3 times, really hard, eligible to regress. You got Sierra Leone coming from way back. I don't think this field is as unbeatable and as and I'm not saying it's not a good field, but I just don't think it's as powerhouse and unbeatable for a lightly raced up and coming horse as you're making it out to be. These ain't machines, they're race horses.
If Unmatched Wisdom wins this race, I'm going to make a large tray of Seti shrimp oregonata and have it FedEx to your house. You have dinner on me. I'll make you a full dinner. All right? He's a good horse. He could hit the board, but he's not winning.
Okay, I wish you would have said that about Arthur's Ride, because I would have enjoyed that dinner. You're saying right. You should have said it then when I won. Now you're saying it, I might not win.
Arthur's Ride had a 111 buy.
Can I get
quiet about Arthur's Ride? No,
can I get the shrimp oregonata if Sierra Leone wins?
Yeah. Gio and I were crying into our tomato soup after the Whitney.
I wasn't.
Listen, I didn't say one word. Great call on Arthur's Ride. And you know what? But that horse came off a 111 and was super fast. And I didn't have the same feeling about Arthur's Ride as I do on Unmatched Wisdom. I ran and Chad Brown, intriguing. But that horse is an obvious rabbit for Sierra Leone.
Nah.
John, if Chad thought greatly about it, I love you. If Chad thought greatly about it, after she ran in the mud at Aqueduct, why did he put her in a low-cal allowance race? Why didn't he spank her into a grade 3 and really test her? I just think the campaign is leaning towards, I need a horse in the Travers to assure a pace so my Sierra Leone that they paid $2,300,000 can run them all down.
I don't know. I mean, Chad's not really one to put horses in races that he doesn't think he can win. I think the Ways and Means is a good example about that, right? Like she ran in the Oaks and then she ran in an allowance race on Belmont weekend and dusted the field so they could get to the test that she dusted that field. So I don't know. I forget who put the comment in the chat, but I agreed with them. I don't think Chad would put the Unmatched Wisdom in here if he didn't think he had a legitimate shot to win this race outright. The rabbit thing, Unmatched Wisdom is Claveridge Stables. It's one of Chad's biggest owners. I don't think you'd, twist their arms and say, hey, let's just put this horse in and he could just, run himself into the ground to set it up for my other horse who's owned by somebody else.
Someone just mentioned
the other horse owned by the Coolmore people.
Someone just mentioned Mo Donegal. Someone just mentioned Mo Donegal. Wrong. Mo Donegal going into the Belmont Stakes. I told everybody and their sister's cousin that horse was going to win that day with Nest underneath because Mo Donegal was the best horse in the Kentucky Derby. He just didn't have the best trip. And that's Rapoli Stables.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. Corporate power.
Let's you go big race, Jim, on him because you're a little familiar with him and you spoke with Shug about him. But let's kind of get it moving because we're starting to.
We just had a little banter. That's good. It's good. It's good for the veins. It's good for the integrity of handicapping.
Yeah, corporate power. I don't know. I think this one would be a little surprising to me, and perhaps he's getting good at the right time, maybe. But he's just been knocking around in these restricted stakes races and has done fine. Nothing earth shattering. Shug told me a month and a half ago that he was really excited about this horse. Said that he was a true 1 1/8 horse. But if you look at the form, he's only won once at that distance. I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means for the extra furlong, but this one would be pretty surprising to me if he was able to step up and win.
I'll go second on him. I agree. I think he's a little too slow. He is getting better, but he would have to really run faster than he has before, and really take a step forward to compete with at least a couple in here. So I'm going to say he's a couple low and pass for me. A little too slow.
Okay, interesting, John. Somewhere along the line, I just want to put a little respect towards what Shug's done with this horse. Again, this horse didn't run as a juvenile, but began his career racing in January. Totally different story. He is a Curlin, very expensive, $925,000. I'm putting this horse on my calendar to make money in the future. But in this race, he appears to be overmatched. I did think if I was going to have the guts to do an extended super key after my four grade 1 horses, and of course underneath Thorpedo Anna, I may put corporate power in the mix to possibly hit the board, out finishing one of those, but can't win this race.
Okay, batten down.
Want me to lead? I haven't led yet.
Yes, you did.
I'll be succinct. Oh, okay. You tell me.
You led with Thorpedo Anna.
That's right. Just Thorpedo Anna. So we're going around the turn now.
You can lead with batten down. Go ahead.
Okay, batten down. Love Bill Mott. Do not like this horse. Sort of intrigued me in his Ohio Derby run. I felt like in the Jim Dandy grade 2, he was overmatched. Didn't come close to Fierceness or Sierra Leone. In race review, he got a little mental around the 8th pole. I don't like that mental. I thought he was rattled. He is a tappet, made for the distance. He's just overmatched. So I'm going to pass on batten down.
Okay. So am I. I think he's a little too slow. I thought he'd show more speed than he did in the Jim Dandy, and he didn't. I think he will show more speed here at 1.25 miles stretching out, and I think that'll help some of the closes. But I don't think he's fast enough to win the race. I think he'd have to move forward too far and too much in order to get it done here for my liking. So he's not for me.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. This is another one that would surprise me.
Okay, Anna Marie, big race, Jim. I know you like this one a little bit, so go ahead.
Yeah. For one reason or another, I've always just kind of had a soft spot for this horse. And like we've talked about before, how many times are you gonna make excuses for horses before you wise up and jump off the bandwagon? But I think this one has two legitimate excuses. If you go back and watch the Kentucky Derby, just got absolutely destroyed coming out of the gate all the way back. And just, he's a closer, but I think he just got completely eliminated in the first, 50 feet of that race. But he responded well and finished a decent 8th. And then in the Belmont, I was pretty high on this horse. I included him on my multi-race tickets. And the same thing happened. Just got absolutely mauled out of the gate and then got sideswiped coming down the stretch. Not that I think he was going to win that race, but, it definitely threw him through his momentum, and he still was able to finish 4th. The horse just has a lot of heart, and I like to gravitate towards horses that show a lot of strength and determination, and this one fits that bill. Much like we talked about with Sierra Leone, the way the pace dynamics should set up in this race, I think will benefit Anna Marie. Like I posted on the Past the Wire TV YouTube page a day or two ago. Win contender, probably not, but definitely one for the exacta, trifecta, and superfecta tickets, just because of the pace and just how much fight and determination this horse has shown in his last 2 starts, where the race was all but over after the first couple of jumps for him.
Gio Big Guns, what do you think of Anna Marie?
Okay, Anna Marie. Now,
post time is in 71 hours now. Just so you know.
I'm a fan of the horse's physicality, and I do agree with Jim that he's demonstrated a willingness to keep going. So I like that. Hey, I'm not out of it. I'm going to keep running. However, I think, and I have a lot of respect for Whit Beckman over the years. He was an assistant. I think he was with Chad Pletcher, a few big names he was an assistant for.
This is true.
But the campaign for this horse, and I study campaigns too, I felt the blinkers now is a reach. He should have put blinkers on this horse after running second in the Louisiana Derby, entering the Kentucky Derby. Now, yeah, the Kentucky Derby was a calamity. He basically had no shot from his post. But laying the horse off since June 8th, working at Saratoga, the workouts, to me, nothing to write home about, but steady. Would be a big surprise if someone's going to use a horse of this nature. They have to like Sierra Leone 10 times more, because he's just better in every capacity, and he's going to be back there the same way. So the rest of the field is just too fast. If Anna Marie hits the board, it's a very late closing 4th, and that's as far as I'll go.
We got brother Kevin in the house. Yeah. We got Amber in the house.
Gio, I will agree with what you said about the campaign. Even just training up to the Travers from the Belmont without a prep race is going to be tough as well.
I'm up with him. too slow. Too slow. Needs to go forward too much in order for him to win, in my opinion. I think Gio brought out a very good point. I don't see how you could use him over Sierra Leone. I couldn't in this spot at all. I think he'd be a major upset. I don't think he's got a realistic chance of winning the race. Okay, we got two major contenders, and we've been eating up a lot of time. So the word of the day is succinct.
Yeah, but we're in this party together.
Make
We
your
all enjoy this.
Listen.
Absorb. Take notes. There's a lot to cover. What are you going to watch? The Obama, the guy yelling and screaming at the Democratic convention? You're in the right spot right here.
If we're looking for an ace, we're in the right place. I agree with that. But post time is now 70 hours away.
Okay.
Right? Clock is ticking. All right. People want to go to bed. People want to eat dinner. People want to take.
That said, I'll lead with Dornoak. I love this horse. The embodiment of here. Can I lead with Dornoak?
Go ahead.
Why not?
Okay. Folks, you guys know Mr. Setti made his presence felt at the Haskell. I was so filled with joy this year. I saw him. I was 2 feet away from Dornoak. Physically imposing, nice looking horse. I didn't have him that day. And when he won, I still had like butterflies in my stomach because I liked the horse, what he did. But here's the thing on Dornoak. He's one of the grade 1 winners. He actually has 2 grade 1s back to back. But the way he dug down deep and was so resilient in both the Belmont and the Haskell, to ask him to come back again 3 in a row and to be as ridiculously game again. He'll run a good race, but those 2 races had to take something out of him. And the fact that he's almost a certain, we don't have C's de Gray in this race. We don't have anybody like that. He's a certain to be pressed on the front end. And you got to go 1.25 miles, which he's done. He's one of the few that done. Let me bring up a very important fact with Dornoak. All right? And I'm a fan of his connections. I had a wonderful day with losing tickets because I didn't have Dornoak in the Haskell. Okay? And it pained me when he beat me in the Belmont because I was on Sierra Leone that day. And, I'm a fan of Luis Sayas. I love the guy. But here's something none of you know. Maybe some of you do. To win the Belmont, Haskell, and Travers, only one time in the history of thoroughbred racing it's been done. And that was by Point Given, who somebody mentioned earlier. Point Given is the only colt to knock off the Belmont, the Haskell, and the Travers in succession. Now, there's a little asterisk here because the Belmont was run at Saratoga at 1.25 miles, not 1.5 miles. So just a little asterisk. So Dornoak fans, I love you. I love horses that are game fighters. His ownership was a bunch of sweethearts. I ate and drank with them. I just had a joy. I held the Haskell trophy. But Dornoak, around the 8th pole, is just not going to have anything left. I think he could be a strong 3rd or 4th at best. He's a grade 1 winner. He's one of 4 horses that can win this race. He's a contender. But for Dornoak to win, Sierra Leone, Fierceness, and Thorpedo Anna have to falter.
Big race, Jim.
I have talked so much shit about this horse, and he has made me look foolish in back-to-back races. There's a recording of me and nice guy Eddie C. doing a Belmont Stakes seminar out at Old Friends at Cabin Creek, and I said that this horse was a total toss in the Belmont, and he made me eat my words. I'm coming around on him, and I feel like the whole Jason Worth thing is cool. He seems like a really nice guy that's passionate about racing, which is engaging. And building my fandom in Dornoak. He's definitely fast enough to win. I do agree with Gio, though. I think those last two races have to have taken something out of him. He is a fighter, like I talked about with Anna Marie, and like we've talked about at length with Sierra Leone. Just these horses that like to show their ability, and when they look somebody in the eye and they want to beat them, and Dornoak definitely has that quality, probably best of all out of anybody in this field, where he stared down Sierra Leone and came back on him last year in the Remsen, and then bared down and got the win in the Haskell too with Mindframe coming after him. A lot to like about this horse. I do think, though, to Gio's point, that the last two have taken a little bit out of him. His figures fit, no doubt about that. I just think he's going to be begging for the wire at some point in that last 16th, last eighth of a mile, and Sierra Leone's going to come and catch him.
I don't know if that's true.
What was that quote?
I don't know. Gio said the first handicapper to not even come forth with his pick in the Whitney, Belmont, Haskell in history.
Nah,
I don't
that's
know what that means.
If you research, but it just on Past the Wire, who was that, Rosemary? If you research some of my biggest scores, and my followers have paid off car loans, they've bought diamonds for their gumads, they've done so many things on my word. The Haskell and the Belmont, I have seized the Belmont, and I've seized the Haskell, Rosemary. Maybe not this year, because I was disappointed with those two. But the Haskell and the Belmont, they're two of my biggest races every year. John, you know the history, even with Past the Wire, what I've done in those two races. I left Monmouth Park with $13,000 in cash with Cyberknife over Tabor just a few years ago.
No argument. Okay.
The king of the Jersey Shore.
The king of the Jersey Shore. Gio Seti. Big guns. All right.
John, you're up. Dornoak.
I was wrong about this horse too, Jim. He's a lot better than I thought he was. Horses do humble everybody. He's humbled me a couple of times. But I tend to think you both brought out a very interesting point that I agree with. So we're kind of unanimous in the fact that he's had two very, very hard races, two tough fights where he had to dig in on the inside. And that's kind of got to take its toll in a race like this. He's toughed it out and got it done. But I think on top of that, yes, he did do exactly what you said. And I do agree that it'll take its toll. But I'll also throw in that he had two perfect trips in those races. So two perfect trips, two tough fights. I think he's ripe for the picking. I hope he gets a lot of money. Sierra Leone, going back to him, is going to probably be the fourth choice. Thorpedo Anna is taking more money than him. Dornoak's taking more money than him. And Fierceness, who we're going to get to next, is taking more money than him. So I'm against Dornoak coming off those two hard races, even though he's a tough fighter. And all of us are going to be able to say, if he beats us again, no surprise. He's just tough and doesn't give it up. Doesn't give it up down the lane. And Luis is getting hot. We talked earlier in the meet how he was off to a slow start, even winning the Belmont and Haskell. He's kind of getting a little mojo going. So moving right along. Last horse in the race, Fierceness. I'll start off with Fierceness. His pattern there's no question that his fastest race and best race is faster than anybody else to date. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody can't jump up and run faster than he's run before. He hasn't run that much faster where it's inconceivable that Dornoak, Thorpedo Anna, or Sierra Leone can't go past what he's already done. All three of those have the numbers to back up going past what he's already done. So with that, He did win a little bit of a fight last time out and showed some toughness that he never showed before. But again, he was doing it on his forward cycle, not on his down cycle. You know, he's got that zigzag, good, bad, good, bad. He regresses off the big efforts. He's done it every time throughout his career. There's no reason to think that he's not going to do it now. As a matter of fact, I would say there's reason to think he's going to do it now. And that reason comes right from Todd Pletcher's mouth. We didn't plan and don't plan to run him back into Travers is exactly what he said after the Jim Dandy. Well, I suspect, I don't know, Mike Rapoli had something to say about that. The horse is probably doing well. Let's run. Our horse is doing good. And maybe they found a light bulb. Maybe they found a switch. Maybe they figured something out with him that can get him to run 2 back-to-back races. But until he does, I think he's a sucker's play on Saturday, big time. And I wouldn't touch him until, you know, he shows me some consistency and shows me that he can run back-to-back races like the one he ran last time, which he has never done yet. Might he do it into Travers? I think so, but he doesn't get the right setup to do it. He's on the outside and can sit a trip, but there's a lot of speed in there and a lot of tough speed in there. So I think he's going to, you know, have his hands full the whole way. I would like him a lot more if Johnny said, you know what, I'm just going to ride like I'm on the best horse and pop out of the gate and open up 2-3 lengths and just let him go as far as he can rolling. I don't envision Johnny doing that. He's a patient rider, but he's a hard pass for me on Saturday. Big guns, Gio.
All right, John. Well, you know, when Jimmy the Cop said that I was going to be torn and ultimately I have to be decisive, well, I was torn. And obviously, because you heard my analysis on Thorpedo Anna is my top choice. But I was torn when I was considering Fierceness to run big here. Now, here's one thing that's not pointed out by many people. Fierceness, second race off a layoff, the first time, ran like Forrest Gump in the wind blows in the Florida Derby at 110 buyer. This is also second race off a layoff. So keep that in mind and don't forget that. Now, Fierceness, 2 for 2 at Saratoga, okay? We know about his big races, so I'm not going to be redundant because John mentioned them. His 3 big races are better than anybody's races in this field by a good margin. He doesn't have to run back to a 110 buyer from that day. I see Johnny V being very intelligent here. He knows he's got horse. He's got a great post. He's going to let the burners go. He's going to sit maybe second deep or third, and he's going to have Thorpedo Anna to his inside. Those 2 horses are going to get the first round at the tiring foes up front. I believe Fierceness will take a lead as they turn for home, but Fierceness being who he is, he's going to fight a little. Thorpedo Anna is going to pull away, not by 6 or 8. She's going to pull away at the 16th, probably by a length and a half. And here comes the freight train, and Sierra Leone is going to try to pass both of them. I see Fierceness being right in the thick of things at the 8th pole. What happens after that, I don't know. And if Thorpedo Anna doesn't fire like I feel she will, Fierceness could win this race.
I want to challenge you on something. You challenged me on Arthur's Ride.
Sure.
Okay. And maybe you answered it. I don't think you answered it successfully or to my satisfaction. So now we may put Fierceness right in the winner's circle like you put Arthur's Ride right in the winner's circle. So I'll take my chances of putting my foot in my mouth. It won't be the first time. What makes you think that a horse that has regressed significantly off every big effort he ran is not going to regress significantly this time?
Okay. My answer to that is I mentioned beforehand that this is his second race off of a layoff. The first time he was second race off the layoff, he ran that big race. More importantly, when a horse is more seasoned in his 3-year-old campaign. Listen, the Kentucky Derby, I was all over him, and he led to the top of the stretch with Track Phantom right to his left. I was on the, the 12-7 exacta. He folded that day. But the Kentucky Derby is a different animal. 20 horses, crazy sounds in the crowd, younger. That's in May. This is August. All right. It is true that Rapoli and Pletcher, they were pointing towards the Pennsylvania Derby. And when Mindframe wasn't available, I know Rapoli, he's got an ego. He's a Gumbad from Queens. He wants to win. He wants this race. But Fierceness is in shape. They wouldn't risk the horse. I just think Johnny V adds an element, John. Do I have reservations about the 1.25 miles? Somewhat, because the pedigree doesn't completely suggest it, and the Kentucky Derby was a calamity. But he's more seasoned now, and what he did in the Jim Dandy.
So, I want you.
Did I answer your question?
You're not answering my question.
Okay.
You're dancing all over the place, but you're not answering my question. What I'm getting from you, and a couple of people are commenting the same thing as you. What I'm getting is that you're saying that he's more seasoned, so he might not regress.
Yeah. And John, it's an exaggeration. His bad races, he didn't have clean breaks. In the race as a juvenile, the Champagne, he rushed up.
So what you're saying is that every time he regressed, he had a legitimate excuse. Is that what I'm trying to get to?
No.
Have a horse that runs a big race and then drops, runs a big race and then drops.
Okay.
Every time.
Those 3 drops, 2 of them were unfortunate circumstances of the break. And remember, the race with domestic product, Hades went into the gutter now. Hades don't even exist anymore. That was a day he was 1-5. What was that? That was the hold on, I sped. That was the Holy Bull. I put a line through that race. This horse is greatly talented. Can he beat? Do I think Thorpedo Anna could beat him? Yes, absolutely. I just feel he's proven he could beat Sierra Leone, and that was a perfect setup for Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone was coming right at him. He said, no. Johnny V took him to the wire. That's all I'm saying.
All right. I still don't feel like my question was answered.
Let me say one more thing. Last thing for the audience, for the viewers. Audience would be live like a Broadway play. But my point is, do I think that Fierceness is better at 1 1/8 miles? Absolutely. No doubt. I have some concern of the 1.25 miles, but I think he's better now and more seasoned this year.
All right, Chuck Barris is going to gong show us pretty soon. So we got.
All right.
Those other shows they put you to sleep, man. At least we inject some enthusiasm into their veins.
The ones that are still awake.
Well,
we have
4 grade ones to give them.
We've got almost 300 people on the stream. So thanks to everybody for watching.
Thank you.
Thank
you for not clicking off.
I'll be brief on Fierceness. I think that on again, off again pattern is setting him up for an off race. Pletcher immediately said, "We're not running him in the Travers. We're gonna give him some extra time. He needs extra time between his races." And then, wouldn't you know, a couple days later, Mindframe has an injury. He's on the shelf, and now Fierceness is back running in the Travers because Rapoli could not let the Travers go without being involved. I think this horse is sitting on another dud, and I am not going to be playing him.
I tend to agree with Jim here. Not Geo Big Guns. I think he's a.
You guys won't even use him underneath? Because I think he's not going to. I think the most likely winner is Thorpedo Anna. That's why
I'm not betting any exactas or triples or super.
Fierceness will be second or third if he doesn't win.
Well, that's really bucking his trend. But moving right along. Oh, there I am.
Let's take a quick brief break, and then we'll come back and we'll do the four races, the four other grade ones.
Okay.
We'll be back in
and we're just
30...
giving out who we like in those races. So don't click off now.
Yeah, it's not a deep dive. We're giving out top choices.
3 hours, 5 minutes tops.
And you guys get your pens ready, because in those races, I'm giving my top choice and my precise order, because I may not be able to tweet.
I take it back. We'll be here another 3 hours. I'm sorry.
Davis here at Mama's Bar, riding instant coffee. Just want to give a shout out to Pass the Wire. See you guys later.
Katie Davis, part of the
what a sweetheart.
She's part of the clan.
Katie Davis, man, what a sweetheart. She's got to get a 300 win soon.
All right, let's roll. What's the first one, Jim? Lead the way.
All right. We're going with the Sword Dancer, and I am going with Measured Time. Really tough to split the Applebee's here, but just reading some quotes, and I know, John, we were talking earlier today, and you told me that you never listen to what the trainers say, and fair enough, but the Brits seem to be a little bit more forthcoming than the Americans, and based on reading through some quotes from past races from this horse, it seemed like this was part of the plan all along. So I landed on Measured Time, though albeit splitting the finest of hairs with Silverknot.
I agree, and I went the other way. I went Silverknot only because I thought he was going to set the pace. I know, I told you the story about him when he was a 2-year-old and ran in the Breeders' Cup, how much they thought of him. I made a big score on him the day he beat the other Godolphin horse, and he was a sure bet coffee player today when he was a nice price and beat the horse Frankie rode. I forget the race. You can see it on the chart there, but I just think he's going to be waltzing on the lead. I agree with you, though. It's splitting hairs between the two Godolphins. I think, you almost want to take just one and try and be, right and alive in the pick 5. But I think if you take them both, you're alive.
Yeah, I agree.
Gio?
Yeah, listen, Godolphin Blue is going to be present on Saturday. I agree with you guys. My top choice, however, is the 4 Silverknot. Extremely impressed with the Geldings' last effort. I want to make one other point. So, like John, I'm on 4-2. I'm going to play that exacta strong. I think the 2 Godolphin Blues are going to be really tough. But I had to mention Soldier Rising. One thing that's really cool about this horse, because
I know we're only giving out our top horse.
No. All right,
you're breaking the rules.
All right, my precise order is 4-2-1-3. I was just going to say how that horse always shows up to hit the board. That's all.
All right. Moving right along.
Death Taxes and Soldier Rising finishing second. All right, next one, race 10. We've got the Ballerina. I'll kick it off here, and I landed on the 4 Society. I'm against Vava here. I think she's just had it her way all day the last couple of starts, and she absolutely bodied Society in deep stretch in that last race at Churchill Downs. Insanely, the stewards did not look at it, which was just absolutely nuts. I think Society sets the pace and kicks away and wins this in front running fashion.
Okay. I was torn between 2. And Gio, you can help me with the pronunciation of Bill Mott's name. What is it? Celia?
It's Scylla.
Scylla. Okay. I was torn between Scylla and a Seed. I wound up landing on a seed for really one reason. I think they both look like the two fillies to beat. But Scylla went out to Del Mar, had no fight in the stretch whatsoever. Looked like she had the race won and got passed. She's cutting back. I like that. But flying cross country over there, cross country back, I think is a little bit, tough and a lot to ask of a filly. So I'm, that's what split the two apart for me, and I landed on a seed. I think she's sitting on a big race. I think she's got a perfect style. I like the way she was coming last time out. I think she's tough, pointed for this, and that's where I landed.
Interesting, John. Hey, remember, guys, I'm going to be giving you my top choice and my full precise order, but I'm not going to talk about the horses underneath. I land on Scylla. That's why I knew how to pronounce the horse. Let me tell you something. You guys are fans of the game. The horse she lost to in California is an absolute beast, a dare manner. So in that race, she got trouble. She bobbled. She didn't have the best of trips. She still got to the lead. She just didn't have enough. She was beat by a real tiger filly. So in this race, grade 1 also, I think Scylla cutting back. Castellano up for Bill Mott again. Mike Smith rode her in California. I think this horse is primed for a big effort. So I'm on the 5, Scylla to take the Barolina, and my full precise order is 5-4-3-8-1. 5-4-3-8-1.
All right. The next one, the 4 go. I landed on the 1, Gun Pilot. I just think this horse, needed to find his footing last time in the True North. I thought Baby Yoda was sitting on a nice race that day, and obviously that worked out. I think the stretch back out to 7 furlongs works to Gun Pilot's advantage. Asmussen's got a couple of good works into him over the Saratoga surface. So I'm leaning back on Gun Pilot and maybe a single on my multi-race tickets.
Wow. Geo Big Guns.
Interesting, Jim. The 4 go, grade 1. I land on the 5, Run Classic. Let me just give you a couple points on this horse, and then I'll give you my precise order of finish. The 5 Run Classic, this is Castellano up for Jose D'Angelo. I put a complete line through the horse over in the Middle East. This horse, I was very visually impressed with what the horse did at Gulfstream Park. Ran big, didn't win, but I just felt there was a stepping stone for this race. It's the son of Run Happy, $475,000 purchase. Hasn't run, in my opinion, his best race yet. Likes the distance at 7 panels. I just feel she goes forward because in 2024, with the exception of that race in the Middle East, the horses move forward to another level. My order is 5-1-6-8. So I like Jim's Gun Pilot too. 5-1-6-8 is my full order.
Okay. I had a hard time with this race and wound up landing on the bottom horse. And really what got me there, and interestingly enough, Gio's horse was the one that I was really having a hard time splitting hairs with. So Gio likes Scylla, and that was the one that I was having a hard time splitting hairs with. And now Gio likes Run Classic, and that's the one I was having a hard time splitting hairs with. But I went to the bottom horse just because I like the way, the way I project the race to run. I like the way he trips out. I think he's going to get a nice trip on the outside. And I think that might put him in a position to get the job done. I'm a little worried about the company he's kept being as good as what he's going to be facing here. I do like Mulligan also, but I wound up landing on the bottom horse primarily because I think he's just going to get the right trip. And that was that.
Yeah. Interesting that Cagliostro and Mulligan, no workouts at Saratoga leading into this race, and they're, two of the shorter prices in this race. So
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting note.
Okay. Next race, the Allen Jerkins.
I think we all landed on a similar horse here.
Everybody's on Prince of Monaco.
Can I lead off?
Yeah.
Quick.
Why not, Gio? Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. I had text Jim, Big Race Jim. Prince of Monaco, and this is a great field.
He was 5 lengths the best last time out.
Yeah, John, I'm so glad you shared that. That day, the Woody Stevens Belmont Stakes Day, I was so disappointed. The investment I had on that horse and to see what happened, I couldn't wait for this guy to run again. Bob Baffert's got him primed. I like the way he's working. I trust Johnny V. They switch it from Pratt to Johnny V. The workouts at Del Mar, I think the horse travels well. I'm not worried about that at all. 2 for 2 at the distance, should be 2 for 2 winning at the distance. Was 5 lengths best in the Woody Stevens and ran second. Broke my heart. I'm using a super key, and I'm singling Prince of Monaco in this great field. 5. My next order under the 5 is 3, 1, 6, 10, 11, 8. 5, 3, 1, 6, 10, 11, 8.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Prince of Monaco is the best horse in this race. Bookham Dano, I think 7 furlongs is right in his wheelhouse. Like we saw, he almost got beat last time at Monmouth, but that was 6 furlongs, and that little knee, that 11 horse, was begging for the wire at 6 furlongs. So that horse was a little interesting to me, but I think that extra furlong does him in, though. I do anticipate him being up and on the quick early pace. The other one that was just mildly interesting to me too was this Jefferson Street, only because he went off at 4-5 in that Amsterdam before getting buried by world record, but he was still 7 lengths clear of the 3rd place horse. So, let's say that world record just ran the race of a lifetime and doesn't return to that form. I think this Jefferson Street, along with Prince of Monaco, is a legit contender for Godolphin. He's just been super heavily bet in every career start, really.
I landed on Prince of Monaco myself. I was a little concerned that Pratt didn't ride him back and went in another direction. I thought that was interesting because after the last race, they knew they were going to run in this race, barring anything unforeseen, and I thought that was a little odd. But I'm not gonna let it sway me, especially not with Bob pulling the guns. But I think he's definitely the horse to beat, and I think there's enough pace to set it up for him, and I think he's going to sit a really nice trip. But I had a hard time tossing 2 horses in here. I loved world record last time out. I don't really like him today. That was off one of the first big wins we had on tracking trips for the meet. But I'm very afraid of Speakeasy. I don't think he's in there just for the hell of it. And I'm also scared of Chad's horse, Domestic Product, who I thought could have possibly run into Travers and is running in here in a race where there's a lot of speed. And I think somebody's going to be coming late. I don't like Bookham Dano at all. I don't like any of the speeds, really. I think somebody's going to win this race coming, from off the pace. And I think it could be, one of those 3, but I do lean to Prince of Monaco. Absolutely.
Happy to hear that. And John, we're on you like Scylla and Prince Monaco because like when you and I are in agreement, it's a strong play.
Yeah. But my second choice is Scylla. You know what I mean? I that way,
But I do like that John Stetton was torn and I ended up deciding to make my top choice. It's comforting.
Okay, well, all good. Well, we got our hats. We're going to have more hats giveaways.
I have one more horse, John. Excuse me, aspetta minuti. I have one other horse I want to offer on the undercard.
Well, do it quickly.
Very quickly. In race 7, folks, I did some deep dive pedigree.
You're already not being quickly.
All right. I'm on the 2. Race 7.
He likes the 2 in race 7. Thank you.
Rookie card. Dylan Davis up for Danny Gargan, who has not won yet at Saratoga. Working brilliantly. I'm playing the 2 to win, and I'm playing a super key in that maiden special. 2 over the 13684. Rookie card.
Okay. And if Danny Gargan doesn't win that race, then he'll be looking to get his first win into Travers with Dornoak and get off the donut there, which is not going to be easy to do.
That's a good stat. I didn't realize that he hadn't had a win yet this
He's
summer.
an OFA. He's an OFA. There's only a few OFAs left. Most of them got off the donut.
And remember what I said earlier, for Dornoak to win, he's got to accomplish something that's only been done once in the history of the game. Winning the Belmont, the Haskell, and the Travers. Only Point Given has achieved that.
Right. And when Point Given did it, he had to run 1.5 miles. This time it was only 1.25 miles.
Yep.
So it's a little different. I don't know how much that'll play into it. Hold on. We got some interesting comments here.
Yeah.
Bob's owners pulled Arabian Night from the Paradise End to stand whatever farm and at least try and get their money back after his $2 million. Oh, all right. Yeah, that we know. I think he's going to Spencer's farm. Rookie card will be retired by the time Gio's done. That's very possible, David. Thank you, Spencer.
Matt Whitler, thanks for the kind words, Matt. I work very hard at my craft.
What do we got here? Anybody listen to Prop better know this kid is a stuff. Honest judge. I didn't bother nobody in the stretch drive in the Kentucky Derby. Liar. Okay, harsh words on Mr. Pratt. What was he supposed to say publicly? He's got to say that. He couldn't lie when they asked him about maximum security bothering him in the Derby when he was on, what was it, Country House? What was that horse's name?
Country House.
Country House.
20 horse, Country House.
He was like,
Pratt's a nice guy. He's not controversial.
No, he's a gentleman. Absolutely. Yeah. We've had him on the show. He's a gentleman. Gio has knowledge which isn't free. You have to pay attention. That's correct. He does. Very knowledgeable guy. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate you all. Thank you, Reva. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Matt.
Any of you folks score last week on Power Squeeze and the Cold Exactor and Triple? Anybody?
Not me. Thank you, Harry.
Not me.
Castellano, look down.
Not me. But I like the card Saturday. I'm going to bet the pick 5 and hopefully close it out with Dornoak getting us all who stuck with him even and then some. Because if he wins, I'm going to be a lot more than even. That much I guarantee. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate that. Spread the word. Let people know what we're doing. The hats. You want one? You could Zelle Gio to $3,000 for the hat, and you'll get it in the mail, overnight FedEx, priority shipping, no problem. We'll cover the shipping cost included with the price of the hat. We got more coming. Don't worry. If you didn't get one, didn't get a shout out, just keep showing the love, keep showing the support, and you will get them. Like I said, I didn't know they were going to be nice, so I didn't order that many of them. So in case they came in, they were shit, and I had to throw them out. Like the last bunch, I ordered 1,000 hats. And they're laying in somebody's closet in Las Vegas, and they're not that nice anyway. So,
and after this weekend at Saratoga, we still got a few weeks left of the meet. Just what's on tab, so everybody knows what's coming up. We have the Pennsylvania Derby. We have the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
I'm already packing for the Breeders' Cup.
Oh, the Breeders. Yeah, that's when we really go to work.
I'm already packing. I'm heading out west. I'm ready. I got my flight. I know where I'm staying. I think I know where I'm sitting. I know Big Race Jim is heading out there with me. Gio, you're invited.
You're
not
going
coming.
down there? You're going to California?
I am.
Wow,
I
that's
am.
beautiful.
Only you're not going. You and Nikki Donuts should be going. I told you months ago.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll.
Yeah,
put
we
that
do have a member of the clan named Nikki Donuts. So might as well get it out there now and make fun of us. Yeah, there is a Nikki Donuts.
Shout out to Nikki Donuts, one of my best friends in the world. And you know what? He trusts my cap in my full, precise order. He doesn't handicap.
Nobody's perfect.
I say Nikki Donuts does. And that's why I love him.
Nobody's perfect.
All right. The numbers are dropping off.
Little bit of ball breaking tonight, but all in fun. We all love each other. So, all right.
The comments are great. The audience was fantastic.
Yeah, and the comments are supposed to go up alongside the show. And last week they didn't. The other weeks they did. I don't know why. I think the trick is if I move it over to the playlist too soon, we get screwed out of the comments. So I'm going to wait a little bit. So stay tuned. Okay. That's a wrap, gentlemen.
Everybody, let's go get them.
Let's go get them.
Tracking trips from Past the Wire and the Pick Six King, John Stetton. As your handicapping partner, John is your second set of eyes on the past performances, replays, numbers, trips, and more, helping you find the angles and plays others miss. Each week you get expert analysis, smarter ways to press your opinions, and the keys to cashing bigger tickets. Tracking trips from Past the Wire. Give yourself an edge and partner with a pro. Get a second set of trained, experienced eyes. Join today. Membership has its benefits.
Nobody does it better.